Shit, I was so ready, and then I thought you didn't click record, and then I was just... Hey everybody, welcome to ProducerHax, a Gamedev podcast, where we talk about games, the games industry, Twitch, TwitchCon, Twitchers, Twitcherinos. It is Monday, July 4th, America's birthday. My name is Blair, producer at BioWare.
I'm clearly Blair. You screwed it up already. I'm clearly Blair.
I am Alien. I'm TheFiddzz. No, actually, for people who used to watch Dragons and Donuts, they'll notice that scene in the goodbye video.
The farewell.
I need to find that video.
I know.
I want it for myself.
Yeah.
Great start. Thanks, Jeff. So yes, Gamedev podcast. It's July 4th, 2016. America's birthday. I'm Blair Brown, work at BioWare producer. Next to me, as always, is...
Billy Buskell.
Your nickname is...
Something.
Alien.
TheFiddzz?
No, I'm TheFiddzz.
Fuck, I knew I'd screw that up. Okay, I'm Alien.
This is our weekly podcast.
Says
I've just murdered this intro.
There?
But you can check out... What are you putting
There. There, that's me. That's me. Right there.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's easy.
Got
It's
it.
just right in front of you and down.
I was like, yeah. Oh, nailed it that time.
Yeah, so we today are going to talk about... I got nothing. I'm just falling apart here. What are we talking about today, Billy? I'll throw you questions.
Because live demos go like this.
This
is how live demos
actually a great,
happen. Yes.
great explanation of a visualization of how live demos go.
Yeah.
So live demos in the AAA setting, obviously, what's required to make one, how they go, how they get to a E3 or show floor, or whatever it is.
And when we say live demo, we're talking about like pre-release.
Oh yeah,
we're not talking about like like what you download on your what you download on your Xbox. We're talking about like what you see on a stage before the game,
or if you go to PAX, you play it.
Yeah, exactly. Or exactly, a hands-on possibly. So something along those lines. So
because we both had a lot of experience with it. But so to start the podcast as usual, because I want to keep this one on time. So I got some Sons of Anarchy to watch, yo.
Yeah.
Goddamn good show.
And it's kind of late.
It is late. So, quickly recap, last week, what'd you play?
Well, why don't we start with you? And why don't you tell us what you did on Friday?
I did Canada. I just...
Wow.
I made sure Canada...
All of Canada.
I just made sure Canada happened.
Did you go to Regina?
No, I went fishing. And then...
Dad joke.
I had... So I was fishing with my dad. I caught it like 12, and he caught 3, and I'm like, so the student becomes the master. Or whatever, and then he's like...
So that's why it took you so long to get home. He kicked you off the boat.
No, because
the lake. Yeah.
I destroyed him. I didn't want to leave. So, and then I got home, and then I was like, you start getting the texts of people like, oh, it's Canada Day, like, oh, we're on the patio, blah, 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 blah. So I...
How do you know how to respond when they say blah, 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 blah?
Because I know what they're saying. I'm like, yeah, of course, patio, boom, blah, blah, blah. Couple beers. Couple Caesars, like Canadian. Some beer and clam.
You gotta go.
You know what? Come on.
Go Caesar, I speak your language.
Things happened, and then I went home, and then I had a nap.
Oh God.
And then I woke up, and I got another text. I'm like, well, let's go do it again. Yeah. So, anyways, it was a great night and a horrible morning.
I can imagine.
On Saturday.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So I ripped it up. What did I play? I played. Actually, I did music on Wednesday. Tuesday, I played. Did we play Destiny? We played Destiny on Tuesday.
Because you did music. No, sorry. Tuesday.
That was 2 weeks ago.
I don't even remember what happened last week.
I don't remember what happened last week either. Did I just play Overwatch?
Probably played a lot of Overwatch, probably.
Did I stream Tuesday?
What day is it?
Duh. Okay.
It's Monday. It's throwing everything off.
I'm all messed up. But yeah, no, had music. Did a food one on Monday. Had music on Wednesday. So I'm assuming that on Tuesday I played a video game, as my usual schedule says. But then something really cool happened for both of us, I think.
Yes. We'll get into that in a quick second too. So,
but nothing crazy. I haven't played a lot. I'm looking at playing more Destiny with you this week. Tomorrow I have music, and Wednesday I have music, just because we're getting ready for a gig.
Two different bands, right?
Yeah, 2 different bands.
Yeah.
So regular practice with my dad on Wednesday, and then the other band on Tuesday tomorrow. But Friday I'm gonna hit up Destiny with you whenever you get online. Before that, I'm gonna play possibly Bastion. Nice. Because it's one of my favorite games all time. Quick game. I want to get another game completion in. Yeah. Because I'm playing a lot of Overwatch, which is awesome.
I got Bastion queued up on the Vita now that it's on the Vita again.
So good. So that's me for the week. And then the weekend, I don't have anything going on. No, I have the gig Saturday, so maybe Sunday I'll stream.
Yeah, cool.
I'll play some more Destiny. If we hit level 40, then I can just play by myself kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or that's just like when you're not online.
There's some activities you got to definitely run on your own. So.
Okay, so other than that, what were you playing, or do you want to talk about the other thing?
Well, yeah, we'll get into that in a sec.
Stop telling me when we're going to get into it.
We played some Destiny. We'll get into it like next Thursday, maybe.
No.
Maybe.
If we ever make it there.
Maybe like what day is it today? I don't have a watch on today.
You don't even have your Apple Watch.
It's sitting somewhere. I don't know.
So weird.
Simpa stole it. Yeah, mostly Destiny this week. I was really missing it. Like I was just like, and then when we started playing, I was like, man, I just forgot how much I love.
It's fun.
Just grinding this.
It's a great game.
And so, I was grinding that for a bit this week.
That's what happened on Friday. A bunch of people came in who work on Destiny.
That's true. Yeah.
X-Power employees who moved over to Destiny. So two really big players over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you like the Warlock,
big developers.
The Stormcaller.
Stormcaller. Yeah. So that's why things went off the rails.
Yeah. So yeah, but I had a lot of fun because it's very rare that I get to spend most of the week is just the usual stuff like Destiny. Didn't get a chance to do any Division even though they got the new content out, so I'll be checking that out hopefully soon.
The game's not fun though, so
shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Yeah, Destiny. I played a little bit of NHL, but it was mostly bouncing back and forth between two platforms. Played a bit of Destiny on both systems. A lot of Iron Banner this week, which I gotta finish that a bit.
I don't even know what that is yet, so
we got it.
Don't tell me.
No, it's only once a month. Only once a month. That's actually kind of was hoping why if you would have played on Friday, we could have gotten you to a point where you could at least dip your toe in there. But that's a good way to get good gear. But yeah, it's once a month, so there's opportunities. And then Friday, I spent the whole day playing. Destiny servers did go down for a brief period on Friday, I took advantage of that when played some Xbox 360 Mass 3 MP. That was a ton of fun because I played with some of the regulars that we play with every Monday. But
you're doing that later tonight.
Yeah, we'll be doing that later tonight again. I want to get some banana done. The funny thing was another player pinged me and said, "Hey, like, do you mind if I play with you?" I was like, "Yeah, cool. We love playing with like new players and viewers." And and it was someone who goes by the name Wild Morgan on Twitter. I've known about her for ages. Discovered I wasn't apparently following her because of the magic of Twitter, and sometimes it's like, hey, you know what? You've been following this person. You should not follow them for now. So Twitter unfollowed her. But then it was funny because today she's like, "Thanks for following me." Like, I could have sworn I was following you this whole time.
Also like people that you follow probably like to tweet, so you'd see
so I was seeing a lot of it. But anyway, she came into the match, and like I've had this whole goal of playing ME3 is trying to get to the top of my friends leaderboard, which is becoming increasingly more difficult because I play with folks like Kaylee Kez and PJweej, who are both active players and significantly higher than my score, like 2 to 3 times higher than my score. And then all of a sudden, RPG Girl, who's Wild Morgan, comes in 9,407 score.
Is that high?
That's stupid high.
Sorry.
I went from 396 up to like just shy of 1,200 now since starting streaming, and 9,400. So like the dream is dead.
There is no
the
dream.
The dream is dead.
Just let your dreams be dreams.
Yes, exactly.
In this case,
I went like this and pulled it back out. The dream is gone. I threw it away.
Toast.
Out the car window. So, but it was a lot of fun because Friday was an all-day stream. Basically, we started around 10:30. It was a few minutes late just because I had to get breakfast and do a few adulting things, and then streamed till about 7. So, very similar to E3 day. Just a full day stream. A lot of fun. Don't get to do a lot of those. So, that's pretty much it. And then this coming week will be tricky because I'm flying out on Sunday, so I got to do all my gaming before then. I
fly out the week after.
A different destination, though. Yeah.
Different destination.
Different corners. Yeah. So anyway, the big thing that happened.
There you go. Now explain what this is.
Well, so we both watch a lot of streamers, and part of what got us into wanting to stream for Dragons and Donuts and then our own streams was watching other streamers, liking what they did.
I love Twitch.
Getting involved, going into a lot of other communities and, having fun there. And
I almost exclusively watched it for StarCraft 2 and then League of Legends. And even then I would only watch it for the professional matches.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then I was like, oh, okay, who's this? I'm a Cutie Pie guy. Oh, wow, this is the funniest shit ever. And that's when I started getting into like
the BDC
channels, right? Like, and then finding people.
Yeah.
And then really getting into not just watching the guy with 26 1,000 people watching,
viewers,
which is like, I'm a cutie pie. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
you watch someone like Lyric, who's just like...
But watching somebody like the Spazzy Prof, who's playing Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And who's just somebody we know through other people and have seen and being like, oh, 300 people, or sometimes she gets up to 600, or if she gets front page, it's like 1,200 or whatever. She's so she's, really, really growing. But somebody with that many viewers, or our buddy Tom on Sanity Live, and how awesome those channels are, and like the sense of community that gets built around them and stuff like that. So that's, it was like I only watch the pros, and I only watch people with 26, and then it's like, actually there's this whole group over here that's super awesome. So that was me.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've both come to almost build into our daily routine is we watch folks in the morning. I know when we're getting coffee in the morning or whatever at home, getting ready for the day at work, we watch Twitch, and that's kind of become a staple of mine. Just have the iPad set up on the breakfast counter and get ready to go. And there's a couple streamers I go to regularly, and one of them is the Spazzy Prof.
Yep.
If you don't know, she's an awesome math professor who happens to stream a lot of Destiny, a lot of Fallout.
Yep.
But she's also runs a stream team called The Family.
Yep. What's a stream team?
The stream team is, you were going to ask a lot of questions, eh?
Yeah.
Stream team is this idea that you can basically group together a bunch of folks, usually like-minded or a well-rounded roster. A lot of teams do things differently, but they try to group together a bunch of folks under a single kind of banner or name. And that way, if you're watching, it'll say, like right now on my channel, it'll say, Ehlien playing gaming talk shows on The Family.
Yep.
And that means, we're part of a group. Spoiler, we're part of a group now. You're a team.
Oh, no.
I know. I had no idea we were going here with this, right?
This goes against everything I am.
Yeah. But, the black sheep speaks. Right?
Oh, God. Yeah.
But no, we're very fortunate that we've both been watching Spazzy's channel for a while now. Both really love what she does with the community and the team that she's built, and very, very fortunate that Friday and Saturday essentially she asked us both to join. Kind of we're like the Sedin twins, I guess.
People just assume we're a package deal. I'm okay with that because I'm reaping the benefits off Billy's contacts. That's all I'm doing, and all I provide is terrible intros to the podcast. Oh
my God, yeah,
that's it.
The rent's got to go higher.
I know it does.
Got to go higher, but
and there's other amazing people like K-Magic's in there.
K-Magic
in there.
Slifrum's,
there's
killing it.
5 pages, so that's 10 pages. Almost 50 people in the family.
I think it's,
or is it 5 people a page?
I think it's like 30-ish, somewhere in there. Yeah,
which is awesome.
So it's a good sized group. Not too small, not too big. But there's streamers of various sizes in there, and that's what I love.
Yeah. You have to have a partner to start a family or start a channel or whatever. So Spazzy was the one that started this one.
Kicked that all off, and great folks. We talked to K-Magic 101, who's also known as Kevin.
Because he does the Jam podcast.
He does the Jam with Gathalion. He's the co-director of DestinyCon down in Florida, which I'm going down to in August. So, it's been awesome, and just very, very.
You'll see us probably hosting and rating a lot of the people in the family. We hope you. Anybody who likes watching our streams or listening to the podcast, like the people in the family as well. We think you will, because we joined.
We joined for that reason, right? We joined for that reason. So I am totally, what's that word?
No idea.
Where you read things backwards. Dyslexic. Yeah, because for some reason the number I was thinking was 36, and Liv just said it's 63.
Oh, I was number 63.
Yeah,
I like that. Is that my hockey jersey? Boom, 63.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
3 away from Lemieux.
Yeah,
but so many away from Gretzky.
Yeah. So it is. So we get into the topic, though. So again, thanks to everybody for all the support. Thank you to Spazzy and the entire family for welcoming us into a very, very awesome group. With that, we got to up our game, get our shit going.
I put black borders around some of my stuff.
Yeah, that's how you know you made it, man.
Going to the next level.
Yeah, I for some reason imagined that you didn't design it. You just took black electrical tape and put it around things. This is what I'm imagining.
No, it's literally I opened up MS Paint, fill tool, black. Yeah. I was like, and it's just a JPEG that I stretch. Yeah. Thanks, Darth Grady.
Yes, thank you.
But so today's topic is AAA game demos.
Yes.
What the fuck are they? What the hell goes into making one, and why do they make developers cry tears?
They are an insane amount of work.
Yes.
So much work. I think a lot of folks will see something on stage and assume, oh, they just grabbed whatever was working in the game, put it up there.
The dream is so the demos always start like this.
Yes,
this is the dream
yeah.
of like a creative director or a senior producer, like EP or something like this, right? They have this dream that the game. It's like, oh no, we'll just grab the build on that day and like we'll head down and we'll just play it, right? Because they're so disconnected, not in a bad way. They're just like thinking about things at such a higher level.
Yeah, the altitude is very different. Right?
They see different things in the project, and they're not in the nitty gritty where it's like, no, but if I turn left right now, the walls just come crashing down. We can't ship with this build, or we can't demo this build.
Fourth wall becomes very very
so it gets thrown down to producers and then assistant or associate producers to like design a demo, I guess.
Wrangle the pieces.
What do you want to show? What are you trying to achieve with this demo? How early are you on in the project? So what kind of demo could you even show? And then how do you want to present it? Are you just sending it to focus tests? Are you doing it at a closed room at E3? Are you doing it on the floor at PAX? Right. So maybe that's like kind of the three things.
Just a big stage presentation.
Big stage, because we've done actually all these things.
All different types. Jesus they all present themselves in different forms.
The problem with demos is, from a developer's perspective, it's throwaway work.
In a lot of cases, yeah.
Yeah, so
even when you say we're trying to avoid that, there's a fair bit of it.
It's just because there's things that the real fix is coming.
It's virtually all custom. Yeah.
Well, it's the thing. It's like the real fix for this problem, or the real feature, is coming. It's in the plan 3 months from now or 6 months from now, but we want to show it now.
And we can't bring it in because it's too expensive.
It's too expensive, or it's too risky.
Person's not right.
It's not ready yet.
Yeah. So.
Or so you fake it, and by fake it, it's more of a hack.
Yeah.
Where
smoke and mirrors
kind of thing.
And things happen.
But what it does is it gives you a vertical slice of that feature. It gives you an idea of what that feature may look like, may feel like, how it will play in the game, or how people respond to that feature. It's not throwaway work because it pushes the team as well, right? I think the biggest one of these that came up recently was The Division. The door close.
Oh,
the original demo.
Yeah.
And it was just that.
People lost their mind.
They're like, this is the craziest, coolest shit ever. Oh my God.
This can't be real.
And it super wasn't at that time, but they eventually shipped with it. But
the funny thing is, they knew that how much of a splash that moment in their demo made, that they made an achievement for it. The very first time you go into cover and then do the shut the door, you get an achievement for it. I was like, what?
I feel like,
and of course that was part of my stream for a long time, was that Division. I was like, I'm gonna go close every
closing every door. No, I really feel like that
New York
door close thingy came from something like a Dragon Age week, like what we do, or a Mass Effect week, where you give the developers a week, or Bethesda does the same thing at the end of the project. You give them a week, 2 weeks, come up with whatever cool shit you want, put your own little teams together, and come up with some cool ideas. You want to do something different or whatever. I feel like that was one of them. And then a producer saw it and was like, that's going in the demo tomorrow. And then the designer's just like,
shit.
Well, it turns
what
out,
was that sound and what's that smell?
Turns out it wasn't a designer. It was probably like a QA person, or like an artist who's like, I want to try something a little different, and they just mess around with the tools. Yep.
I can blend this anim and this anim together and put it on a timeline.
That's how we ended up with Trolls. Yeah. They weren't in the lore, but god damn it, we made it. We put them in the lore right after.
Sure found a way to get in there. So
they're so cool.
Yeah.
So that's all the problems, pros, minuses. Like there's all these. This is the melting pot of the demo. So it comes from above. We're going to PAX, and we want to be. So let's do E3 because that's probably the main. We're going to E3. We got a room. We're going to do a 45-minute demo every hour.
Behind closed doors.
Line up. Mostly press. Some people that can get in. And usually you have like a secret room on top of that where like Sony execs and stuff can go and play.
Usually it's
and
like
they
green room almost.
Green room kind of thing, but they sit beside another producer.
Yes.
And get walked through the game. Or walked through the level or whatever the
just
demo
to prove it's live code and not you just like smoking
judges
the whole thing, right?
Judging is a part of that.
In order to get like a best of E3, you have to be playable.
You have to be playable.
Yeah.
So there's no videos. Because you see it on times, like a lot of the big presentations, there's the ones that you know, like you're at Bethesda, you're watching the Bethesda thing, like what we did at E3, and you know if somebody's playing or not playing. but they still have the dude or girl standing there with like the controller, like, "Oh, look at me, I'm playing a video game," and you can see the ones that are playing, and the ones that aren't, because the ones that aren't playing are just like, the ones that are playing are just sweating bullets, so ultra focused. Their thumbs are like breaking in half because they're just like,
you can see the
tension in their hands,
cracks in the plastic from how hard they've been squeezing that controller after the fact. Yeah,
been there. It's intense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It sucks.
I felt like I mangled a 360 controller during one of the ME2 demos that was live on the GameSpot stage, and I was like, that's got like craters in it.
My thumbs kill because you're trying so hard to push so perfectly that your thumbs just steer lock.
Just enough with the controller to get like that sight line, and then not beyond that, because again, the whole thing will fall apart if it renders off to the side.
Yep.
Purple and pink shit explodes out of nowhere. And
so Billy, if somebody comes down and is like, we're going to E3, we're doing behind closed doors, I want to show 45 minutes every hour, so it's going to be 3 days, 12-hour days, where do you start? And they're like, because you're pretty high associate producer, they give it to you to run. What do you do from there? So you make a script, I guess, is where you start.
You first, you kind of get
first stop is a producer makes a script.
Yeah, it's a very high level, kind of bullet point-esque. It might be like, what are the major beats? What are the things we need to show? Oh, well, you talk to a few folks and you're like, well, we got this much content to show right now. It doesn't fulfill all the beats we're trying to hit. So we want to show a bit of, like, say, the 4 pillars is often something that comes up. We want to show customization. We want to show...
we could use Dragon Age. So the Bog demo. So we wanted to show... Or no, Hinterlands demo. I wanted to show TAC-CAM.
Yep.
We wanted to show customization.
Exploration, I think, was in there.
Exploration was in there, and narrative wasn't in there.
Yeah, narrative's often the one we try, as Bioware, we try to avoid because it's spoilerish, right?
Yeah,
so you try to show something that's not going to do that.
Or we move stuff around or banter lines around so that you don't understand what's happening.
Yes, the context is altered slightly.
That was the Liliana scene. A lot of people were confused by that, right?
Yeah, I remember
that. And it was one, if you chose the wrong... we'll get into this later. So exploration, customization, tactile camera, and I think it was just combat. It was like visceral combat or something.
Yeah, visceral combat was part of it. I remember that because that was the whole
one of those bullshit terms.
You gotta get a certain amount of buzzwords, right?
Yeah, you gotta get
if you haven't
hit a few buzzwords.
If you haven't saturated the buzzword counter, then you're not pushing it.
Yeah, marketing hasn't showed up yet. Yeah. So you make that high level script based off the pillars.
Yeah.
And then what is it?
So you establish a few beats and you go, okay, well, roughly we're thinking, it's 45 minutes behind closed doors. That means you're probably spending, if it's 4 to 5 beats, somewhere in the neighborhood of, 8 to 10 minutes per beat. Probably if it's an evenly spaced out thing, you might go, well, you know what? Exploration's a double length. So, you alter that a bit of the pacing and you get a rough map of what you think 45 minutes looks like.
Yep.
And once you have that, again, you go start to map the content. And a lot of times what we used to do, I think this happened on Dragon Age 2, but it definitely happened with Mass Effect 2 when I did the one for the E3 reveal, was you go and grab like almost like video of the content real quick and you just stub it all together and see makes roughly, if I just do a totally like scratch playthrough and stitch it all together in Premiere, about 40 minutes. Oh, you know what, it's about 5 minutes shorter than we thought. We can stretch this. We can move this.
Well, it's the things
you get your pacing down, right?
For us, it was starting in PowerPoints.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just images, right? Yeah,
and then
this move to this to this. Yeah,
Mike and Mark would just be like, and I want to talk about this here.
Yeah,
I want to talk about customization. So, okay,
and your deck explodes a bit out and expands. So
yeah,
we've done it in a couple of different styles, and we've talked about this before. But the Dragon Age team and the Mass Effect team operate a bit differently. At least historically, the new Mass Effect team operates differently from both those teams because it's different composition, but. Maybe I like the idea of you using the one example. For me, it was the E3 2009 demo, and it was we were using part of the Thane introduction. So you're familiar with that now, having played through the trilogy.
Yay!
Yeah, but for me, it was we were bouncing back and forth between Shepard dying, which was like people were like, holy fuck. Did you just do that?
Yep.
And that was behind closed doors. And then there was also so that was the kickoff
of
the whole demo. And people were like, wait a minute, if this is the kickoff, where the fuck are you going with this? And it was really cool. But the pacing was, we had that, and we had the Thane intro level. And then we had another little bit that was kind of like just showing space and everything. It was like navigating a little bit. And it was that was one of those demos that was kind of custom, because we had to go get one of our awesome level designers, John St. Augustine, tech designer / level designer, and he had to go and stitch his level, which was Thane Acquisition, and the Normandy intro into one cohesive timeline. And it was like going into Unreal and stitching new save games and plot states and everything that would pull you through this whole other space. But it all started with the same idea. It was like, okay, here it's got to be this long. We knew it was about 30 minutes or so.
Yep.
And then we're like, okay, and then we did take some brief screenshots. Like, hey, it's Normandy, it's this, it's this, it's this. Oh, and there's this part that will basically be, we push a button and it'll play a video for a split second, and then it'll go. And there's little things like that, and but it really started out with that script expanding outward, and then it was just playing it and playing it and playing every single day. We did dailies for like a month straight.
Oh,
the dailies is where.
Okay, so
we're skipping ahead here, but
you're going too far. Hey, what's up, Feels Good Man? Welcome to the channel. Glad you could catch a live episode. Mm-hmm. That's right. If you're listening on iTunes or on YouTube right now, tune in. Usually on Sundays, but sometimes on other days when we do the live cast, because we like having you guys in chat and talking and asking questions. So you got a script. Yep. You've broken it down as the producer. You're like, I want to show these 4 pillars. I want it to be 45 minutes. You've now gone into, okay, I think it can be, for us on Dragon Age, it was, I think we can do the hinterlands. This is one is pushed the farthest visually. Yeah. It's not too far out there. We had other ones that were pushed pretty far as well, but we didn't want to show like a desert yet, or we didn't want to show one of the snow levels because they're just a bit more, you want to save some stuff. So we wanted the average fantasy thing, right? So forest, mountains, easy sell. Yeah. Big point was we wanted a dragon fight. Dragons weren't ready yet.
No, that was.
And then we wanted to show off some of the cinematic stuff. So we had the Red Cliff Castle was one of the farthest pushed cinematic, like main. We call them different things on different projects, but it's one of, like on Mass Effect, they're the missions. Yeah. Dragon Age, I don't know what we called them actually. I think it was just crit path.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Weird, but the same thing. Your main beats, right, where you go do a big chunk of actual narrative quest.
Yeah. For anyone who's not familiar with the term, crit path means critical path, meaning these are the missions that must be completed.
This is the story, right? So there was a huge part of that in Red Cliff Village, Red Cliff Castle, whatever it was called. So you plot all that kind of stuff, and you're like, okay, what do I need to make this? First of all, how much time do I have? Oh, you got 2 months. Okay, cool, whatever. Yeah. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, never that long, actually.
Yeah, I know. It's like based on that.
You have 30 days.
Based on that, which levels do I want to use? All that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. You have tomorrow. Yeah. So you grab it. Okay, so obviously if we're using Hinterlands and we're using the dragon and we're using the inventory system and we're using Red Cliff, here's the people I need, because each of those has...
the inventory list of the things you're going to need. Yep. Now you have to go start associating who's responsible.
So who's all for that? Oh, that person's on vacation. Oh, maybe we shouldn't be using this level or whatever, right? So you go through and you grab all the... We usually group up people in pods when they work on wildernesses or even on missions as well.
Pods or strike teams, essentially.
Yeah. So you have a level designer, an artist, a writer, cinematic designer, then a bunch of shared people like VFX, audio. They bounce around everywhere. So you get that list together. It's like, okay, for the Red Cliff Castle, we need this designer, this writer, blah, 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 this cinematic person. And for the Hinterlands part, cool. So here's the creatures we're going to show. Yeah. Okay, let's get the creature team in on this. Which ones are you guys ready to show? Okay, let's use the Red Templars.
Yeah, they may not naturally go in this level.
They may not go here, but they're going to go here for now.
They're going to go here for temporary purposes,
And then the dragon was the big thing. So we wanted to say, look how fucking crazy these things are. It was a huge moment for us.
In a game called Dragon Age, we wanted to make sure people understood they were dragons.
Yeah, we finally got dragons right, I think, in Dragon Age.
I agree.
So one designer gave his soul to make this dragon.
Did he ever.
Josh Stixma. Yep. Unbelievable gameplay designer, character designer. Supremely talented over at Destiny now. Yep. Bungie, those guys, awesome. That's why your final bosses are so rad, because Josh is probably making them. Yeah. So he came up with the whole system for the dragon. It wasn't ready to go yet, but we're like, can you do this in time for the demo? And he's like, if I don't have to do anything else, yes. So these are the sacrifices you make. It's like, oh well, he had to go make these 3 other creatures. that pushes out. As a producer, you're making those calls, at least as a senior producer or whatever, you're making the calls. Lower producers like us or the DDs, which are the project management people, are like, well, here's what you can lose, here's what pushes out, here's what moves, blah, 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 blah. So we're like, cool, let's get a dragon in. So now you have you have the team. And what you do is you go and isolate them pretty much. They splinter off. You do something called branching. Depending on where you are on the project, that happens sooner or later, because you don't want the fake demo shit
to affect the main game,
to get fucked. So because if you have to hide something because you don't want to reveal it yet, like what we did in the Liliana scenes, because she was supposed to be really, really old, because it's supposed to be in the future. Oh, spoilers for Dragon Age people, but you probably should have played this game by now. But we didn't want to, because people would be very confused why Liliana is so old, and it would kind of ruin the whole time travel part. So we made her younger for that scene, so we didn't make her older model till later. Like, it's all these kind of things had to come and go. And we wanted, when people were actually playing the game, to get a feel for it in studio, to see the older Liliana, so they understood the what's happening, why you're going through time, like all that kind of stuff. It actually worked, because that scene, how we demoed it and then how it showed, didn't ruin anything, and it actually it made it was a twist for people that saw both things. So you get your team together, you give them time, you go get them isolated, maybe pull them into a branch, so they're working separate from everybody, and then you kind of let them go, but then you start doing daily playthroughs.
Yes.
So what the fuck is a daily playthrough?
So dailies actually comes from movies. Editors and directors and a few other key folks, key cinematographers and folks would sit in a small theater, and do daily sessions, hence the term dailies. And as they were going through the final cut, they would continue to go take notes of like this. And you see this a lot of times. If you ever watch like the extra features of a Pixar film, you'll see the directors sitting in a small screening room together, and they're like, hey, like this looks funky, like let's go back, let's touch this up. Oh, color balance is off here, whatever, right? Whatever the notes may be. This is true of games too, and this has been my experience actually, not so much on the old sports titles I worked on. They had a similar process, more of like just a bug triage, but like when we are shipping a demo or shipping the game itself, you're doing playthroughs, you're in a room, you have one person driving, usually the person who will ultimately be driving the demo live on stage or wherever it may be, and they're playing, and then someone else is speaking over top, or if it's earlier, maybe they're just, there's someone else calling out like, hey, every time you cut over there, this is bad, so okay, now we're taking notes of like what the path will be, but this thing, no matter what we do, we can't hide it, so that's a fix. Okay, so that goes out, we file it, it gets listed as a bug, it goes into a monster like one list, so to speak, and then it's prioritized and put to an owner to say, okay, we need this one fixed. And you may have like a list of hundreds, if not even 1,000 bugs throughout this process of doing daily iteration on this thing to get it perfect. Like you're trying to get this thing to like, nailed it, right? And there's one positive side effect of all this, is that this is essentially the same process, like I said, you're going to go through to finish the game.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and this is part of where the tiers thing comes up, is that we do a lot of things, like we said, that are movie magic kind of thing, smoke and mirrors, you're hiding things, you're doing this and that. But at the same time, you're also pushing certain content way up. You're getting it up to gold standard. This needs to be the best and needs to be the stuff that's ultimately going to probably ship.
And it needs to be the real thing.
Yep. Exactly. And that is a great thing for the team to see, because up to this point, usually, when you get to this point in the project where you're going to do some sort of live demo, you're not there yet. You're not ready to show anything yet. So this is the first thing that's going to come up, and this better be good enough to show, so the team pushes it all the way up. And then the funny thing is, we've seen this happen a few times, but when the game ultimately ships, it actually tends to be almost some of the weakest content in the whole game, because you get all that up to good, and now you know what the good bar looks like.
And you want everything
else comes that much
better.
higher. Yeah. Everything comes up, or you've learned all the tricks of how to get it there.
Yeah.
So the second time around is not as painful, right? So
and tying into one of our previous talks, crunch generally happens on demos.
Yeah. It's a small team, but yes,
and
it usually does.
Yeah. It's not good at all, and we're actively working on trying to push away from that. I think me and you are two of the biggest proponents of trying to push away from that at work. Not just that, but like crunching. Like I'm super against it. I'm super against like having blackout periods for vacations, stuff like that. But it's massive culture change, right? Like that's the thing, and it requires way better planning, way better time management. Anyways, that's a different discussion for another time.
Yeah, there's probably a follow-up discussion on that last time we talked about it. Yeah.
So so you get the dailies done, you start getting the bugs out of it, and as the dailies are going on, so we're still talking about if this was so all this is happening for any of the types of demos you're doing, whether you're on the show floor, people are going to play it. Those ones, the dailies would focus more on stability, and you're usually doing that kind of demo later in the project where you're like, things are solid, we know it's not going to crash, we know all the assets are in, the art over there is not going to look like crap, but it only looks good over here, like you know the level's done, that kind of stuff. The E3 one, because it's, or the big stage one, when you have somebody talking as well, this is when they're also planning out what they're saying and their script. And their script gets crazy detailed.
Oh god, yeah.
And also at this point, if it's a stage demo, you're having a driver start to play with an eye for, so you have the bugs that you're going to fix if somebody's playing through the level. You have then the stuff that the driver can fix. So it's like, okay, I can fix this bug because this creature's acting like a crazy person. They're all like, they're falling through the world and all that kind of crap. Or, like, we could fix that, but I'll take 4 days of somebody to say, well, we don't have 4 days of
just
combat program.
Steer clear of
so what we're going to do is just not do this attack on that creature so he doesn't fall through the world or whatever it is. So now your driver is building their own personal script of where they look, how they look, because it's a much different thing.
Best practices / like, what we used to call it play notes, essentially. And it's kind of like, you know the play-by-play of what your script is for you as a demo driver, and you also have these other things of like what not to do.
What not to
do.
So
what to do and what not to do sits right alongside it.
No, the whole Crestwood demo, the intro to it, which I think a lot of people have seen now, was never supposed to be live. It was supposed to only be a stage demo. But that hook shot, like everything I did there was planned out perfectly and in sync with what Mike and Mark were saying in the script. And we would sit near the end. It came down to 5-hour days every day on top of the daily playthroughs where we went through bugs and stuff, where they would be doing the real run and I'd be playing, and we would keep stopping and be like, no, this doesn't, I need you to turn this way. It's like, no, Mike, why don't you ask this question to Mark instead of the other way around? And
I still remember the time, the moment, there was a great moment, and I still love it from the real demo. It's that where Mike says that, and this requires a more tactical approach.
Yes.
And it was just that perfect moment
and
when
then
the camera pans
I push
out.
back on the controller, and it goes into the tac cam for the first time.
Boom.
And people in the room lost their fucking minds. It was
that to me, the first time you guys did that, I was like, no, this is where this happened. This is where this demo all of a sudden became real.
But there was
and
that
every
one.
demo has that where it's suddenly like, are we gonna pull this off? And then all of a sudden you hit that moment, you're like, that was it. This is where this happened.
And there were still so many questions about TACCAM at that point. Like, are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? What's it going to look like? How's it going to feel? And then you did it and you demoed it, and the reaction was like, yep, this is a cool fucking thing.
Yep. And then I think that goes back to the idea of like, you'll hear developers, ourselves included, a lot of times say like, God, don't do a demo for the sake of doing demo.
Yep.
Try to use as much as the real thing as possible. Don't do fake work or throwaway work. And a lot of it becomes, we know that so much of what we put in there is like blood, sweat, and tears. You don't want that to not end up in the game.
Yeah, if somebody's crunching on work they're going to not ship with, it's just so sad.
Yeah, and you know that all that hard work is bringing something to an amazing quality, so you might as well make it something that's going to ship, right?
Exactly, right.
So,
and the other big moment, I think, was when the dragon finally landed and you started the fight, and it was just like...
It's knocking over the pieces, and you're like, oh,
what the fuck is happening? So, you're doing that. I like it. The amount of attention to detail, because these things are so scrutinized by the press, by fans, by Sony executives, by Xbox executives, by EA executives, like everybody. Like when you roll out a demo,
GameStop, the whole works.
Oh, everybody. Right? When you roll out a demo, everybody's expecting this to be shippable quality.
Yeah.
And if it's not, why am I giving you money, right? Like that's why am I as a fan paying for this game? Why as a publisher am I paying for you to keep making this game? Like as Sony, like why do I want you on my platform? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you think about something like PAX is often like hands-on and stuff like that. E3 is really for the publishers and for the retailers, right? It's like, okay, yeah, you're right. You know, now I've seen this, or now that I've played this in this back room, you're right. I should give you an end cap. Like your game deserves like additional promotion or needs extra. You know, when we put the Best Buy flyer and it shows your game on all the TV screens as additional, like, you know, eyes on, right? And they're huge. They, no matter how much, if you like them or not, or don't appreciate the style of them, they serve a incredibly valuable purpose to the project. Without them, Sony just would not.
It's such a hate-love.
Yes.
I know it's not love-hate, it's hate-love relationship. You hate doing it, you love the result.
They're a necessary evil. That just happens to have some silver lining if you're willing to look for it.
It's rough, and the thing too is that you don't if you're running, this is like from production side, if you're doing a demo, and then for your next demo, don't have the same team. And
try to rotate it.
It's hard because it's usually your most senior people are running that the demo, right? You want the best people making the best content, kind of thing. Not that newer people aren't the best, but it's just the senior people have been there. They know what they're doing.
They know the ways of making it happen.
There's a reason they're the senior designer, senior artist. You would think it'd be simpler to have pre-recorded demos from the chat there. It's you would
noticeable.
Think it loses the people want to see the real shit. Especially at E3s.
Jeff nailed it. They demand live code, and there's reasons for that, right? It changes it from being this thing to real.
Because the thing too in video, you can After Effects the shit out of it.
Oh god, yeah, exactly. And people I think pick up on that these days, right? It's even to the point now where, like, you know, and I know in the UK they passed a law a while ago of like you cannot show non-game footage as advertisement without specifically calling out this is not game footage.
That's where all that stuff started coming from. People are like, what the?
Demos were getting advertising,
and all the CG and all the After Effects is getting too good, and that's why people want to see the live code. Because this shit, you can't fake it. You can fake it in the ways we talked about, but even the fakes are real in the sense that they're in the engine.
In the engine, it's playing. It's faking that it's not what will ultimately ship because you've put a render to texture wall there where it's just making it look like something's moving by or whatever, right? But that's movie magic to replace something that's not completely done yet. So big, right?
And talking about the attention to detail, when you're doing the dailies, they start off with, it'll be 3 people. It'll be the script writer, head of QA, probably, and like the head designer, and the head artist, like the lead artist, lead designer. Then it'll open up to, you'll have your DD in there, you'll have the team members who are making the demo start to show up to these. To get the feedback directly, and it's like, okay, so we're taking an hour out of their day, which is a lot of time, but they need to be here to get the feedback immediately instead of having it filtered through a DD producer.
Yeah, you don't want the purple monkey dishwasher effect, right? So,
and then when you start to get near the end, then you get the studio execs start popping in.
And
that's when they get their feedback is suddenly it carries so much more weight because of who they are, obviously. And it's everything is now what we call P0. It's like this gets fixed today. Because we need a build, because QA's hitting these builds because we're looking for our release candidate. And the amount of fixes that come in at the end for tiny things that you're like, are you kidding me? This is nobody's going to care about. It's like, no, that's exactly what they're going to care about.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the thing that proves this is real or not.
The tac cam moment of like, this is tactical was on the chopping block just for the demo, not for the game, up until the day we pulled the build to go on the demo. It was like, is it going to work? And finally it's like, oh yes, like it's working. And it was like, nobody put anything else in. We're going.
It's too delicate.
We're out of here. So
it's and I think, you know, we've obviously given a lot of examples here of like, that's a what's often called a guided demo, right? One of the other examples of a demo that takes a lot of the same steps but has a very different optics is you can get away with things like you said. As a demo driver, you're going, I control the camera. I control your view into the game of what you're going to see. But when you suddenly go, the player will play this, it takes a whole other turn. It's like steps 1 through 5 are identical, do all the things. Step 6 is like, this is a fork in the road. This one goes, we can cover that with, like you said, my demo notes are like, okay, I don't do this. I don't use that attack because it's going to kill him too fast. He's going to do bad things. He's going to ragdoll, follow the world. we don't have that where, say, for example, another Dragon Age demo was the PAX live reveal of multiplayer.
Yeah.
And it was, 4 people playing at a time, 2 sets of 4, with a coach on the end of the station, walking folks through on a headset. No hands-on, no one in there to intervene. This is one of those things where, like, this thing better effing work.
That's it's the thing, too, where it's like, as a demo driver, as the people making the demo, especially as a demo driver, like, or like Mike and Mark having faith in me to do this, but it's I can show off what I know looks great.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm showing off the best work. Like I had, there was a big moment after the chain hook when I would combo it with the one-handed. It was the two-handed sword, but it turned into a one-handed like smash down, and the rocks came up.
It came down over, yeah.
And the VFX artist especially came over to me. He's like, I need you to not cancel the animation, because you could do the attack and keep attacking. He's like, I want you to go like let it go all the way through. So I know I can show how cool that is. But if somebody's playing it, they're just hitting B, A, B on their, like, they've lost the animation, it loses its charm. Like, I started to learn to, as I did the animation, I could move the left stick and just move it down and around so it looked badass as fuck. Yeah. That's never going to happen when somebody else is playing it, so they're going to miss those moments. Yeah. And that's where you just have to trust that the game's good enough at that point.
Yeah. And Jeff brought it for us, at least with multiplayer.
Praying that the servers stay up.
We were in a very weird situation because in addition to like the list you mentioned at the beginning there, like what do you have to get together? Well, for us, it was things like, okay, so, Microsoft has offered to host us in their booth. So Microsoft, you have PartnerNet, which is like the test version of Xbox Live, up and running. Will you have at this place? Will it have a certain bandwidth? Will it have up down speeds that we need? Will it be stable?
Because the code isn't optimized at all at that point, so it has to be so much more higher than so much higher than
bandwidth usage was higher than it was meant to be. It was not, the game was not yet optimized for the Xbox One. We were largely optimizing at that time for PC with specs and knowing what the hardware was, because the systems had been out for about a year at that point. But we were still figuring out all the ins and outs. The XRs and the TCRs were changing on the fly, like month over month.
Everything was so new.
Everything, it is crazy, right? And so I remember going with Jeff's boss and my boss at the time, Scylla. We had to go and say, okay, like we started having calls with our representative at Microsoft, like on the weekly, then we became daily, and we were like, okay, so here's where we are with the build, here's where we're going, here's what we want to do, here's the setup we need, we had to lay out exactly, okay, we're going to need this many Cat 5 cables, we're going to need or Cat 6 cables, this is how many stations we need, here's how many backup stations we need, here's how many hard drives we're going to bring on site with 3 different people. They had to be one person carries one hard drive and 3 different people carried it in case something went wrong with a hard drive. It hit, got a static shock or whatever. It has to go in your carry-on, so it can't be lost in a piece of luggage or something like that.
It has to be bit locked.
It has to be bit locked, so it cannot be decrypted, cannot be stolen. There's all these different things we had to do. And then once you get it there, you're like, okay, and we need access to your stations in your booth a full 24 hours before the show goes live. And they come back like, well, we're not planning to have the station set up until like 6 p.m. the night before, and the hall closes at 6. We're like, nope. You're going to have them ready at 1 p.m. because our flight arrives the night before. We will go do some backup checks on our laptops, make sure everything's good. We had to schedule everything out.
Yeah, I think Jeff start from the back where it's like, when are we going live with the demo?
Yeah, exactly. You do.
Okay, how long do I need to set up?
This is true of any production, but Jeff and you saw my old schedules, right? It was like, you have to do these monster schedules of here's, front to back, build up and then build back, build down. And, we had these monstrous Excels of like, what's the go live, the Gantt charts of like, what does everything do to go live? And people used to look at me and go like, dude, this is fucking nuts. Like, how do you, like, no, this sheet is stupid. I'm like, you'll think it's stupid until you run it once, and then you're like, oh god, like we have to have all these things for everything.
You have to. It's the metaphor you always use, which you got from the great Casey, is about airplane checklists.
Yes. Yep.
Every time you do something, you learn something new, and you add it to the list that must be checked off before you go live. A big thing that just popped up is Jeff's like, I used to work in IT. It's like having an IT specialist, A, from the beginning, and be on site.
Yes.
So what we mean by that is, so we have our own internal IT team.
Yeah, we call it IS internally, but a lot of folks refer to it as IT, information technology or information systems.
Yeah, there's 6 guys, so 2 for the network and 4 for desktop support. And so getting them to, it's like, hey guys, okay, we're going down with to E3 for stage demo. We need the most powerful PC on the planet.
Oh yeah.
Now we need 2 of them.
We want double Titans in there.
Yeah, we want double Titans in there, and we need 2 of them. And in case one craps the bed for whatever reason,
Yes. Yeah.
we need one of your guys to go on the trip with us. I need the 4K monitor for whatever reason because we're showing you 4K, whatever your thing is. Then you go to BizDev and be like, who are we partnered with for keyboards and mice? Okay, we need that. Do we need that shipped down with us? Do those keyboards and mice work with our game? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, we need to talk to NVIDIA. Can we have the latest driver? Can we have their test drivers?
Yeah.
To make sure they work with our game. So IT builds you your PC. Mm-hmm. Then you get the build as that gets closer to the release candidate build. Mm-hmm. And then those go on separate hard drives. Pretty much everybody going down for the demo takes one separately. Just because gets lost, gets static shock, like you said. Any of those or doesn't work because what the fuck?
Who knows? It's technology, right?
Or one of you don't get into the country.
Yeah,
if you're the guy that has all kinds of crazy stuff, and then when you ship it down a week before, so we show up probably 2 days before the show, whatever the show is. The PC's been shipped to the hotel. We set it up in the hotel room.
Shows up in these gigantic Pelican cases, right?
Indestructible boxes. And then you start building the PC with IT. Oh shit, the video card didn't make it. Yeah, like it's just toast. Yeah. Off to Best Buy we go.
I was gonna say beeline it to Best Buy.
And
We've
done
that before.
And so you're troubleshooting. I remember we were on the phone for the E3 Dragon Age one. I was on the phone with our head environment artist the day of, and they had to go in studio and buy the same TV we had down at E3. And so that we could get the proper color calibration on the TV screen because it was looking like crap at E3. So they're like, what TV do you have? And they went back, brought it in-house, booted up the build at the studio, and tried to find the best settings on the TV because we couldn't adjust any of the code, couldn't adjust any of the debug commands for the game or anything, and try to just get the best quality picture on that TV. Yeah, it's bananas.
We had something similar where we went to do a trailer actually for Mass Effect 1. And so if you ever saw the Mass Effect 1 trailer where someone jumps a rocket on Vermeer with the Mako, that was me filming that at a company called Hammer Interactive. And we got down there and all their equipment was Macs. And we're using an Xbox. Oh, God. And we're like, can we do this? And like, oh yeah, we've done this before. And like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, totally. And they were thinking of the original Xbox. Even though there's largely all the same cabling, they were like, yeah, we've done this before. It's component cable, right? I'm like, yeah, but the output and the codec and everything are still different. So sure enough, we're one of the studios that's working them for the first time on the 360. Right. So 360 is, about a year.
Because we were an exclusive for that too.
For X1, for the original 360 there. Yep. We were supposed to launch around 2006. We launched in 2007. We were doing this filming in 2006. And we're like, okay, your shit doesn't work. So we had to get in the guy's car and drive down to Best Buy and buy a brand new TV that would have the right components and everything. Yep. And at the time it was like, holy shit, like, yeah, that just gets expensed into the contract and everything.
Oh yeah, no.
And it was just hilarious. And I've seen other things similar. We had another demo where, again, TV related, we get down to this place and we're supposed to run a demo. To rent the TV was going to cost the same as buying it. Yeah. And so we said, fuck it, we'll just go buy it and give it away to someone at the end of the show.
Give it away to somebody at the show, or
so they can have a nice day.
Send it out the request to anybody at the studio, be like, hey, we're gonna have a 52-inch TV. Yeah. Dad's stuck in LA. Yeah. If somebody wants to pay for the shipping, it's your TV.
Yours. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Right. So little things like that. It's just weird. Like the logistics of these things are just insane,
your logistics plan needs to be just as tight as your demo creation plan.
Yes.
Or the build.
You'd be surprised. One of these days, I'll be able to show. Not the plan that we use, but an example, because I've had to do a few of these things in the past to show someone, like, when we moved off of Dragon Age, I had to hand off a deck to someone and said, okay, if you're building this on this other project, or if you're building this on this other project, here's the steps we went through, here's how you had set up. And a few people did the same thing, like, dude, this sheet is fucking bananas. I'm like, and you'll say that until you get to the launch. And then sure enough, I had someone come up to me about a few weeks ago, and they're like, yeah, every single one of these steps was necessary. Oh, and we added 3 more. You should take these back when you guys go do your thing. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's a good one. We didn't call that out, right? So, it's amazing. And the funny thing is, we talk about plans a lot. Plans last 15 minutes.
Yeah, no. As soon as you run into your first
you find another bump, and then you're like, okay, and try to add it in.
So the funny things with it's not even like mechanical. what's the things that can happen on demos. But you have we're at E3. It's just this was one of the, not the most stressful ones for me, but one of the bigger ones was the E3. First time Dragon Age went to E3. Sorry, second time, because the time before that we did just the trailer demo, and that was a whole nother. That was hard because that was gonna be the first showing of the game. We spent so much time on Morgan's face.
Oh,
in Frostbite, that was crazy. But sorry, it's the year that we showed the Hinterlands. It was we were on day 3, so we'd been there. So I guess now when you get to the show, I'll talk about this a bit.
Yeah.
So you arrive and you got your IT guy. We had 2 IT guys because this was such a big deal. Dragon Age needed to be very successful. So every game needs to be very successful, but it was like, it was first one on Frostbite for BioWare. Let's knock it out of the park, that kind of thing. We sent 2 IT guys, me to drive, Mark, obviously, EP and creative director, 2 other producers to handle. Oh,
that's Mittens.
Oh, that's
Mittens is very upset she's not allowed to come downstairs.
Oh, I thought that was that was the kid. No. And then other producers to handle the closed door stuff.
Yes.
Plus PR's there.
Yep.
Plus marketing's there. There's a whole other
it's a whole army. Yeah.
Going on. But so when you get there, the first 2 days, we show up 2 days before. We showed up 4 days before E3. The first 2 days were, does this PC work? Are we checked into our hotels? Did everybody arrive?
Yeah.
Set up.
You have to do roll call essentially. Yeah.
And then there's 2 days of press where you play in a tiny hotel room.
Yep.
With PR and Mark, so all the IGNs and all those show up, all those people. You give them a preview so they can get their stories written
ahead of time
because they're playing so many games.
Yeah.
They gotta write so many stories. All the PR people work together to try to organize this for everything.
They have their own Gantt chart of just bananas.
For journalists and stuff. So you run through that. So you're already 2 days into the demo. And this one's it's not the full presentation, so it's either Mike or Mark.
Yeah,
if
it's a subset of it. Yeah, usually.
One of them will go do a private interview, and the other one will be talking with the person who's playing or watching the driver play. I had a driver backup as well for that because I was getting tired. And then Mike and Mark would get tired, so they would swap off all the time. So you have 2 days of that, and then you have on the show floor. So now we've done another setup. So we had a day to do a setup on the show floor. So after we do our hotel demos for press, we go down, make sure the screen looked good, make sure the TVs look good. That's where I was on the phone with the band and being like, oh my God, it's just everything looks so green. And you have the art director, head of art and animation, standing behind me and be like, it's too green. I'm like, I don't know what that means, man. I'm just a guy. And so you're going through that, and then you start demoing. Doors open. It's lined up around the wall, and you're just like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Arena show here.
And then the first day ends, and you're like, I have never been more tired in
your
life.
life. Feet are sore, legs are killing you, hands are cramped to shit.
Never want to play this game again. And you got 2 more days. On the last day, funny little story. So I sat at the back of the room, and it was like a 50-person little theater we had built. Screen in front. Mark was up by a podium, and him and Mike would switch off 2 shows, one every other show, just so they get a break on the voice, go do an interview. And then I would play I played almost all of them because I was I was just like, I don't trust anybody else. I'm the only one that can show how to play the game. Whatever. And then IT sat with the IT of E3 who managed the lights and made sure so we always had an audio guy there as well. Mark's going through the demo, and halfway through the demo we cut to some slides. So Patrick would switch over the slides. Miracle Worker, anybody who knows him popping into our channels, because he ran the actual video conference and shit, whatever, which is a whole nother Jesus Christ crazy thing. So halfway through that, so we had the Hinterlands part, I fight the dragon, then it cuts to a huge load because the game's not optimized and it's not supposed to go in this order, and we covered that load with screenshots talking about crafting system, how many levels we had, all the kind of montage, number of shit.
Exactly.
Some cool concept art. Oh, look at all the cool stuff's gonna go on. And that ended, and it was supposed to go from black again, and it would fade in the level when I pushed a button, and I was waiting for a vocal cue from Mark. And Mark, I'm waiting for him to be like, and now in Redcliffe, or it was something like that, something stupid, and it went from the slide. It was the last slide. He finished. He was like, and that's crafting in Dragon Age. Click, and it goes back to the game, which is on this black load screen. Because as soon as I pressed A, the banter started and all the VO and stuff. So I'm waiting for him to cue me in, and it's just silence. And he's just standing there, looking like kind of at the podium, not at the people anymore. He's just like staring there and just like silence for 2 minutes. And I'm just like, I just want to push A, but I don't know what happened to Mark. He's just blanked.
He blue screened.
And Patrick, yeah, exactly. And Patrick's just like, Mark, you can continue on, Mark. Like from a mic that Patrick just found somewhere in the back. It's like, Mark, you can carry on with the demo, please. Mark's like, oh yeah, and so here in and it was like Mark didn't miss a beat. It was a complete reboot.
Yeah,
and he's like, after that demo, he's like, Mike, you're gonna have to take. It was like the second one. He's like, Mike, you gotta take the last one.
Yeah,
and Mark was just like, straight to a bedroom.
Yeah, no,
out.
We had something very similar. So in 2009. Very similar situation, right? You bring more than one demo driver because the bus factor is so high on these things. For me, I was the lead of content QA on Mass Effect 2, and our lead combat / gameplay designer, Christina Norman, was going to be the other driver. And we both had slightly different styles of driving. We both worked with Casey very closely. Casey was going to be the one at the podium doing the same thing. We were going to be sitting behind a little desk, driving, and then the projector up behind us. And same thing. I think our screen was like our screening room was what, 35 to 40 people. It was a pretty quaint space. Like it was a little room built of these like makeshift, almost like a shanty town of like walls they build in these conference centers. And it's all in the LA Convention Center, downtown LA. And so we're doing all this. And we get to day one, and the whole time the playbook has been, okay, Billy, you're going to go do the behind closed doors demo with Casey, and Christina, you're going to go do the live on-camera shoots with Ray and Greg demoing the game. I'm like, cool. I'm not built for TV.
How are you on Twitch?
No, exactly, right? I should probably do just more radio, if anything.
That's what my mom said. She's like, who's that guy that's with you? He's got a great radio voice.
Put babies to sleep, right? But, so this is where I've been psyching myself up. And part of me is a little like, it'd be cool to do one on stage and be able to like say, hey, mom, dad, this thing, right? But at the same time, I'm like, no, like, makes sense. Lead con designer should do this. And the last possible minute before we go live with the demos, like we've been doing all the rehearsals, we show up 2 nights before, we have the full day before the live show to prep, get all the t-shirts and the boxes and everything ready, the swag. Yep. We're going good. I'm exhausted because I'm one of those people who, like, if I get in a plane and there's the fucking recirculated air, I get bad sinus infections, never fails. The next day I'm a gong show. And I warned them about this. I'm like, we may want to fly out 2 days before because gong show. They're like, yep, that makes good sense anyway. So we did it. We get there. I feel like shit the first morning. We're not, we still have a whole day before we go live. And they're like, are you going to be okay for tomorrow? I'm like, yep, totally good. I'm totally good. That day when we're doing all the setup, I'm like sitting in the chair. I was like, dude, are you going to be all right? I'm like, I feel like garbage. The next morning, though, I drank all my OJ, got all my vitamins, did all the things. I feel like ace is next day. I'm fucking ready to go. We found some 5-hour energies were being promoted there.
Those are the worst.
But they were so
they're the
good.
Best.
They're the best. Yeah. So we were good, right?
Because after 5 hours,
you
were out.
Done. Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah. And so we made sure good. Like it was like you were timing them almost, right?
Yeah.
It was like Sudafed. You really got to time these things. But anyway, so we're good to go. But then Christina gets sick on the second day, and I'm like, oh shit, are you kidding me? So she's like, okay, well then I need to, like, her eyes were doing like my eyes do like borderline bloodshot and everything. She's feeling rough. She's like, I want to hang back and do the demos with the press here with the big room.
This guy's in.
And so you're going to do, the on camera shit. I'm like,
it's your big shot.
And I have this superstition thing, right? It's going on right now a bit now too. I faked it a bit like this time because I had to shave the beard. It's too hot. But usually, if there's a big event like a hockey player, you don't shave the beard, you don't trim your hair, you look like you've been homeless for some time. And we went to LA, and I had the full hockey shag going.
Oh my god!
And I didn't have quite the beard at the time, but I had full hockey shag in full effect because we were trying to hit a milestone.
Yeah. And
they're like, you're going in. I was like, I literally ran across the street, found a $20 haircut place.
Are you kidding me?
Behind the arena.
That's awesome.
Ran over there. I'm like, fucking cut this shit now.
Get on!
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I have to be back at a demo in 45 minutes. We're going. I paid $50
you were
for
just
it.
like, what? Just like,
yeah, I had a $50 American. I was like, let's just go. And yeah, it was. I had like along the edge of my collar, and it was just like a big bowl cut because they had to just trim off the mullet part of the hockey hair, and they just put it around like eye level. It was just like it was still shaggy. And if you ever see the video, it's G4 TV, Adam Sessler and Morgan Weber interviewing
I do not want to see that. I do not want to see that.
No, it's they're interviewing Ray and Greg, and you see this guy with this big ass mop, hockey hair mop, off to the side, and they cut.
There you go. There you go, Twitch chat. But I think you have a mission.
Yeah, and here's the best part of all that. So we do all these demos. I'm running around like crazy. I'm a bigger guy, I'm sweating my balls off. It's LA. Running from place to place because they're like, okay, Ray and Greg are going to alternate, and sometimes they'll do tandems. And so to cover the whole thing, we had 2 PR guys. One would take Ray one place, one would take Greg the other place. And me and one of the QA guys who had become a designer on DAO, he was doing the DAO demos, I'm doing the ME2 demos. And so we'd split off and we'd we'd come back and we would run around with backpacks and systems. And all of a sudden, we get to G4. And so we did the hey folks, we see.
Sorry, no, new people keep popping in.
So I saw Jen, so we're doing all the things, and we go to GameSpot, and we have this problem where we go to GameSpot, and they keep doing the TV producer thing with the switching screens and everything. I'm like, I can't see the screen. Like, why is this a problem? Like, because I'm gonna fucking die. And they're like, what do you mean it's not on no die mode? I'm like, no.
Their demo screen was hooked up to the live feed screen, so whatever when they would cut to commercials and stuff, you would lose the game.
Yes. It drove me nuts, and I was yelling at them behind the scenes, and they're like, why is this a problem? No one else had a problem. Like, no one else did live code with you. They all just pushed a button and they pressed a button and hit, like, press X to run video, essentially, right? And I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. And so, like, our PR guys looking at him, she's like, why would you cut away from him the screen he's using? Like, you have your board, and he's playing on a fucking monitor over here. Why would you cut away from that? And then so, like, we get through that demo. Finally, it worked out okay. I knew enough of the things by heart that I could kind of, like, fake it long enough. And the character could never die, but we had it in, like, what we call min 1 health mode. So, like,
you start to notice it's fake.
Bleed out and everything is happening. I just didn't want it to, like, them cut back and, like, it's just clearly I'm supposed to be dead and not.
Yeah.
So we do. I'm like, oh geez, that was a close one. Ray and Greg are like, wow, good save. I could tell something happened off screen there. Like, you guys there's arms flailing and things, and you guys saved it. Good job. I'm like, cool. Well, then the next, like, and then Ray and Greg are like, okay, we got to run and grab lunch. You guys got to go do this other one. We did another couple outlets, and then they're like, we'll meet you guys at G4 in a little bit. We go to G4, and that's when the whole hair thing happened and everything. But the funny thing with that one was they had a production TV truck sitting directly outside the center, and G4 sets up their booth right on the outside wall of the convention center. So they have all the wires going from their truck. When there was a G4, rip G4. I'm sorry. I love that channel.
That was a great
channel. It was good. But yeah, they had their truck, and you could actually see from, like, where the booth was to the wires going all the way out to the back to this open door letting heat in. I was like, oh god. But I get there, and weird bit of trivia, Abby Heppy, who's now the community manager for Titanfall, she was a producer for G4 at the time. I was a huge fan of hers and what the TV team was doing there. But we get there, we introduce everybody, and I'm like, cool, I love what you guys do. Meet Adam and Morgan. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I love watching your shit, right? This is awesome. And then we get to like, hey, we're going to finish up with this other game, then we're going to cut to you guys. We're going to start with, I think it was starting with DAO, then it was to me. Then DAO, they're like, well, DAO, you're going to probably run off behind here, and then Billy, you're going to go over there, and we're going to film you every once in a while, do panning shots and this. I'm like, oh, all right, fair enough. And the funny thing about all this was, we get there, and I'm like asking him all the questions, like, yeah, where do you want to plug in? It's all component cables and everything. And then I start playing the game, and I'm like, something's not right here. There's a lot of latency. And like, well, no time, we're going live. 3, 2, 1, we go live. And I'm trying to play. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be tough. And then there's a brief moment where all of a sudden, if you ever get to see the video, I think it's on YouTube. I'll have to find a link for it. But you see, I'm running through the tower to get to Thane, and there's a bunch of parked trucks, and I start just eating it. I'm just getting obliterated by some Asaris. I'm like, oh god. So I get into cover, and I kind of recover, and then I finally get into my rhythm. I'm like, oh god, like, this is not supposed to happen this way. And then I kind of get control of it. They cut away a little bit, and then I pull it together. But I remember, like, someone immediately texted me after the demo. I'm like, fuck, I'm so mad. They had, like, what was going on? They're like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, there was so much lag. He's like, oh, someone else mentioned that too. We think it's because we wire everything from the TV straight to the TV, and then it goes into a splitter at the truck, like 160 feet away, and then back to the TV.
It's like you're trying to play a game through an XSplit.
Yes.
Like through the stream delay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it had 4 to 5 seconds delay on every action, right? I'm like, oh, this is horrible. And yeah, just the worst. But if you guys ever see the video, it's hilarious. And the funny thing is, I remember getting texted and someone going like, oh my God, like, you know, that what happened. And then one of my favorite moments in my entire career was the lead animator at the time, now works at Valve and did some movie stuff, but he pings me and goes, I'm so happy you were the one to do this, because you're the one who could have recovered it.
Yeah.
If it weren't you, I think it would have just fallen to shit, and they would have like just said cut. you know, we're just gonna focus on Ray and Greg over here, but because you've been through this sequence so many times, you just knew how to recover. And I was like, oh God, I felt horrible that whole day.
I cut my chops, cut my teeth,
both,
grew my chops.
No,
whatever.
You got a beard.
Developed my chops and cut my teeth.
Yeah.
On demos. And they were some of the hardest, but some of the funnest things I did on Inquisition. And they led to a lot of like really, really cool opportunities for travel, which was awesome. That's why production is such a really cool job. You do a lot of travel. If you end up in that tract of it,
I think I've since been flagged as like, don't let this guy travel.
No,
he gets drunk and stupid.
Travel? Well, hey,
that's part of the job.
Once the job's done,
there's stories there. There's stories, I think we all have those stories of like the walk of shame.
The night of the PAX demo.
Oh yeah.
After we did the PAX demo that crashed on
stage, and you gotta let loose.
I had to let loose. That's a funny story for another night. Actually, no, that's not a story for this at all.
No, I say mine was
stay on the road.
Yeah.
It led to a lot of awesome opportunities, and one of the ones I'll talk about, and maybe we'll end on this. I don't know, it's getting pretty late. But you get thrown into these weird things. Demos create this situation of, well, you just gotta fucking do it.
Yep.
This thing needs to happen.
You get thrown into.
You need to go fix it.
You get thrown through a hoop of fires and lions into a pool of sharks. And deal with it.
It's the producers are slackers. We just get sent everywhere.
Yeah.
Programmers stay back and
do all the work. Yeah, that's true.
It's such a good thing for producers, because it is very much what our job is, where it's like
improvise.
Go do the thing. So one of the ones we were at Cologne for Gamescom in Germany. And I was doing the bog demo. This is getting really close to. Oh God, is it? No, what? The internal name was the bog. Falomar demo.
God, I always forget the real name. Yeah.
Getting real close to ships. That was our last demo. And Cameron was lead producer on it. And I was the driver again. And so Cameron would do the talking, I would do the driving or whatever. But this one we had in closed doors and it was on hands. We didn't have a stage demo. We had a stage video, which was weird. And there was 2 presenters who didn't work for us that did the presentation, because it was in German, right? Like, so we don't have
interpreters.
Interpreters did all that. So we set them all up with everything. And then behind the scenes, we had 4 computers set up with. So I was in the room, running the room, making sure all the computers worked. So it was mostly fans getting in and playing, or special press and all that kind of stuff. Really limited people got into this, and they'd play the bog, and I would walk them through it. Falomar. And be like, no, you should go this way because the quest's over here, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I don't know how to attack. Oh, it's these buttons, that kind of stuff. Anyways, Cameron's been doing press this whole time. The IGNs, all the whatever. And then Melissa, our PR girl, came over. And she's like, okay, so Cameron needs a break.
That's how it happens.
Here you go. And I'm like, what do you mean, here I go? And he's like, oh, no, you've done this before. I had done a few interviews before on paper, so I'd done those. It's like, so I sat down for a couple of those, and then I was like, okay, kind of fine, cool, whatever. Go back to my room, start doing my thing, and then it's like, Cameron's like, oh, hey man, like I need you to do one more, and I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's time for your video interview.
Yeah.
And I got it with PlayStation Online.
Okay.
So big YouTube channel for PlayStation stuff.
Yeah.
Holly B.
Yes, I know her from Twitter. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, very
and
cool
she was
host,
so nice to me. Because I was like, I've never done this before, and she's like, it's fine, you'll be fine. And I did my first on-camera interview, but it was that moment of like, hey, I could finally show my parents I do something at
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah.
B, I could look at myself and go, holy shit, crunch food put a lot of weight on my body.
Oh, yeah.
And C, I like broke through another level of skill set where I was like, okay, I can do on-camera interviews now.
Yep. Yeah.
Because once it's over, you're like, I just did that.
Yeah, it's like skydiving,
and as long as
right?
you don't fuck anything up.
Yeah.
As long as you don't say anything like, oh yeah, there's all kinds of crazy shit going on.
Then, Mario is in this game.
Yeah, didn't you know that?
Like Mario, we're influenced by Mario.
Here's how much the game cost.
Yeah. This is actually about Star Fox.
It comes out tomorrow. Like as long as you're not saying that kind of shit, and driving the message that the PR people have set up and the questions around it. It turned out good, and it's just another thing.
I was gonna say,
I can do,
to once again
not
let you end when you want to end, but very similar experience. I had to go do the demo for.
You always just gotta like be the last guy.
No, I always get the last word. No, it's actually not even so much about me, but so we went to do the EA Summer Showcase, which is a pretty common event. They do it right on the EA Redwood Shores campus, and they do it in the summer, and it's always like the things that are coming out post E3 that need a little bit of hype. And sometimes smaller projects. And Mike Gamble and I went to, we also just call him Gamble now. Mike Gamble and I went to promote Leviathan. Because Mike was in charge of all the DLC plan for ME3.
Yep. And you were in charge of that
I was
pack.
in charge of Leviathan as a pack. And but I hadn't done like true interviews at that point. I'd done a couple smaller things around the launch of ME3 with like, actually did a really cool one. There was like a podcast with... a couple hosts from shows I really liked, but it was just like, side stuff. It wasn't really big. This is the first time I was going to go actually promote a very specific item, and so I was going to be the demo driver, much like you said. So I'm driving through the content, and a bunch of folks are interviewing Mike, and we're showing people. And so he did all the big outlets like IGN and whatnot, and there was a whole bunch of drama that happened there too. That was a fun one. Just how much was going on still with the ending and everything, and how much it changes. But the interesting thing that was a lot of fun is we were also showing the Wii U port for the first time, and so Mel Faulkner was there with me traveling, and this goes to what you were just saying about Holly. Was the best interviewers are the ones that can take a situation with someone who's new and augment it and make be a force multiplier, which is really cool because as producers, that's what our job is meant to be too.
Yep.
Is we're meant to take what the team does and hopefully augment or amplify it, like take what they're doing, right? And for me, so I was like. They're like, no, you know what? You be a demo driver. That's your skill set. You're really good at it. I was like, cool. And I was like, not pushing, but I was like maybe hinting that I wouldn't mind doing like at least one on camera. They gave me a small outlet. It was interesting. They did all the coaching of like what to say, what not to say. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he kept mispronouncing Leviathan, and it was like just like this ticking time bomb going off in my head. I'm like, "Argh." And so one time he goes, "Tell me about Leviathan," and I'm like, I don't know what you mean. And,
no,
but thankfully, he edits it out after.
Yeah.
The final cut or whatever. I think EA actually helped him.
You should have just slapped him.
Yeah,
like, Leviathan.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
There's part of me that was really like just reading.
Say it one more time.
Yeah.
English.
They speak English in Leviathan. But yeah. Oh my God, we're done here. But that was my experience. But the coolest thing I saw there was Jose Sanchez, who has done recent hosting work for EA for the Battlefield events.
Okay.
Did the Battlefield event with Golden Boy at E3, and he's been on EP Electric Playground for years and years and years. He went and did the interview with Mel for the Wii U, and I thought this is so cool because she's like same things. She's like, I've never done this before. This is gonna be like I don't know what to do. And
it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and he just turns and goes, "Don't worry, I love video games. I love what you guys do. We're gonna make this awesome. We're gonna have fun with it."
Yep.
And immediately you can watch Mel relax.
Yep.
And he got a great interview out of her. She killed it. She's a great personality in general. And I think that to me was like that sign of like, you know what? It restored a little bit of hope in me for that moment because it's like. I'd gone through, we'd seen what happened in the summer and all that year, and there's this feeling of starting to like, do people just want to hate video games right now? And seeing a interviewer who could have just easily gone down that path and shit all over things, or right, and it's a Wii U port or whatever. No, he did it. And I was like, that's to me like the thing of like, we talked about this a little while ago. Like when you take a team to a convention and you see the fan reactions.
Yep.
you get recharged and re-energized, and you're like, this is why we do it. Sometimes interviewers have this ability to do that for the for the production team too, where we're like, there's good people out there.
Yep. There
and
is.
so that was my little I guess
your little
nice
try to get the
story.
last
Gotta get the last story in,
always.
And there we go, we're done. See you later, folks. Peace out.
Oh!
But yeah, sorry, that was something very similar. So.
I think that's kind of where I'll call it for this one. That went way over time. When I was like, let's keep it under time. But yeah, no. Thanks everybody for tuning into the podcast. We'll be back next week. Oh, how are we doing next week?
We will figure out next week for sure. We'll have to figure out something. But yeah, so I'll be traveling. Sunday? So I leave Sunday at like 7 a.m. So yeah. We'll figure out a time. Yeah, we'll let you guys know.
I don't know.
Follow us. Follow the Fiddzz and Ehlien on Twitter, and keep your eyes peeled for
YouTube.
Follow ProducerHax on Twitter as well.
Yep.
But definitely on YouTube. Yep.
And I guess for people in the chat, please stick around. We will go do a raid. We will answer any questions you all have. Throw you over to some good people to check out. Yeah, we could do a Skype call. We do lots of things.
Yeah, we gotta move into some of that territory soon. So yeah.
But yeah, so thanks everybody for listening. This has been ProducerHax for July 4th, America.
This is
2016.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. All right, take care, folks.
In your chat, stick around.
Yes.